Need something built?
Welcome to Elimination Bracket Round 2 of the NA Starcross Cup. It is Complex Stairs versus Rainbow Hamlet, so It's Dusty and Honeynuts versus Spark Trooper and Part-Time Ninja. It's Dusty and Honeynuts will be playing as double Soviets on the left side. We will have double Osthair on the right side. Interesting. I think this is maybe the only time I've seen double Osthair in the tournament. I think I've always had either at least one, sometimes two Over Commando West players, so that's fun to see. I think that's a first. Not 100% sure because there's been a lot of games, but I think that's a first. We also have Honeynuts going with Tier 2, Dusty going with Tier 1. Meanwhile, of course, double Tier 1 from the Osthair players, double Grenadiers from Spark Trooper, and double Grenadiers from Part-Time Ninja. So no huge surprises. If we take a look here, we will see a Maxim getting produced by Honeynuts, as well as Penal Battalion getting produced by Dusty, so no huge surprises. We're probably going to be seeing a scout car. He certainly made very good use of his scout car in his last game, almost single-handedly really winning the game with a scout car with a Penal Battalion inside. So hopefully, he's probably hoping to do the same thing here in this game, although I'm not entirely sure how well it'll work. Samoski Winter can be difficult actually to make big plays with light vehicles, just kind of due to the layout of the map. Can be a little harder than Moscow Outskirts, I think, to chase and kill with a scout car, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Combat Engineers moving up to take territory over here. We also have conscripts taking up a position inside the house to give him vision on what his opponent has sent to take the fuel. Meanwhile, here in the south, Dusty will be grabbing the fuel with his combat engineers. Conscripts grabbing the cutoff. And Pioneer's actually going to be circling really far south, presumably to stay out of vision range, and he's actually just going to keep them in the area, possibly thinking about going to harass that strategic point after the conscripts have moved on. At least that's my guess. Maxim catches those Pioneers, and they'll be forced to retreat. Combat Engineers are about to finish capturing the munitions there. Conscripts making a move for the victory point, although he's waiting for his scout car to catch up, I think. Pioneers still haven't moved. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's planning down there. Grenadiers taking up a position behind this wall. Machine gun moving up to support. Honeynuts successfully taking the north fuel point, so it looks like the Axis are concentrating their forces pretty heavily here in the center. Dusty finds the machine gun with his Penal Battalion. Unfortunately, he does not have a flamethrower yet, and he's not in his territory. Or now he is, so he could get the upgrade. He does have the munitions for it, possibly a little too busy microwaving other things at the moment, though. Or maybe he just, maybe he would just rather save his munitions for something else. He has more engineers on their way over here. Conscripts continuing to harass territory here in the south. Honeynuts continuing to take the fuel there unopposed, so the Axis are going to have to make a pretty big move on this fuel point to keep their economy going at a reasonable rate. Wow, I can't believe that squad got away. Both of those will be forced to retreat, and there's the flamethrower upgrade on the Penal Battalion, but unfortunately both of his combat engineers just had to retreat. So he's pretty much going to be rendered incapable of participating in any engagements here. And as double Osthair, they really don't have to be that afraid of this flame car. They both have plenty of Grenadiers and Panzerfausts. So Dusty just really can't bully them the same way that he could bully an Over Commando West player. That's one of their really critical weaknesses early in the game.
Soviet HQ now includes a field hospital, but only for those who are seriously wounded.
Oorang to safety behind the house. combat engineers. Ooh, upgrade with a flamethrower at pretty much the perfect time to catch that machine gun out of position. Could get a lucky burst. Nothing too catastrophic. Pioneers also have a flamethrower taking up a position in the house, defended by Grenadiers and an MG42. The scout car has been repaired. Combat engineers moving up to support. Hopefully won't get caught too out of position this time. Conscripts continuing to hole up behind this building, and the scout car is going to catch that machine gun quite out of position here. But unfortunately, due to some weird pathing around that bush, he isn't really able to move in and execute on that, and instead he's kind of reversing back up here. Get a burst off on that machine gun. That one was pretty nice. I think he could get fousted here. The deep snow is making it difficult for the Grenadiers to close the distance. Oh, but he does get it off. Oh. Ouch, that explosion killed 5 out of those 6 penal battalion squad members, so that really hurt him actually. And he wasn't quite able to finish off the machine gun. The Axis have managed to retake the fuel point here, but they don't have access to this cutoff, so they're not going to have any, Apparently Lenny wants to co-cast. Unfortunately, this is the last matchup for tonight, so Lenny will not be able to get a chance to co-cast with me today. Combat engineers probably not going to survive this. Grenadiers probably going to brute force them out of the house. I don't know. We do have Honey Nuts actually over here to support, forcing away some Grenadiers. There's a mortar on the field though, so he's going to be careful. Need to be careful about keeping squads in buildings. More infantry moving across the center here. Honey Nuts also taking control of the fuel while these Grenadiers try and get a hold on that strategic point in the north once again.
Shock troops have arrived.
And that MG is going to be forced to retreat. Another MG in position down here to at least push away those combat engineers. With this shock troop squad, ooh, that flame burst just forced a reaction, buying just enough time for that machine gun there to set up. And that grenade does nothing. Shock troops will be forced away. So that flame burst made all the difference there. Ooh. Something just detonated that flamethrower. And he's trying to get closer to burst down that machine gun with the other one, suppresses them while they're trying to maneuver through the deep snow, which is extremely annoying. And deep snow just makes it impossible to move squads slow to a crawl. So the Axis are doing what they can, trying to push back these constant Allied pushes. The Allies have had pretty good map control thus far, but they will be, the Spark Trooper will be able to retake the fuel up here. Hopefully we'll be able to grab that cutoff, although these shock troops are going to make things difficult for him. And since we do see shock troops, that does mean Dusty has chosen the doctrine. It looks like he's gone with shock rifle with the IS-2. And Honey Nuts is going to go with he has not chosen yet. Could be any one of these things. Maybe not shock rifle, but we'll see. Meanwhile, Spark Trooper also has not chosen. Part-time Ninja also has not chosen. So they're keeping their options pretty open. Probably going to be seeing some Tigers though. So much for that Pioneer squad. Grenadiers getting upgraded with LMG 42s. Should be able to win against this Penal Battalion, but he might want to move out of flamethrower range. Getting burst down. Still, he is able to push them away. Meanwhile, harassment happening on the victory point. This machine gun getting caught out of position once again. They really need to be more careful with those machine guns if they keep on sending them out unsupported. Doesn't end well. Ooh, that being said, getting some definitely getting some wins over here with these upgraded grenadiers, pushing back penal battalions, getting that squad wipe certainly helpful. Hopefully we'll be able to roam around with this scout car a little bit, do some good harassment. The scout car is definitely a very mobile option since this map is so large. It gives you a little bit of extra firepower. Rifle grenade going out here. Oh, we aimed it a little short. If he had aimed that directly on the Maxim, he probably could have gotten a lot of kills. Oh. Dusty just detonated that demolition charge on the scout car, but it didn't die. That's kind of frustrating. That's kind of a waste of 90 munitions, I think. I don't know if there was a squad nearby. I don't see any corpses, so I don't think so. I think the only thing he hit there was the scout car. I think that might have been a bit of a waste. That's unfortunate.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Combat engineers taking fire, being forced away. Shock troops are moving up, though. Not really that. Oh, there's a machine gun right there. Grenade going out. Oh! Oh, I thought the squad got wiped, but actually there's still one Pioneer barely alive. Should be able to make it home. And yeah, these Soviet pushes for the south are not going very well. Although now that those Grenadiers just retreated, might change things. We also do have a Katyusha from Dusty, so that should help soften up these Axis defenses. Oh, geez, that retreating Grenadier squad almost got wiped. And firing a Katyusha at max range like that is always a huge gamble. You really never know what's going to happen because of how wide the spread is. Look at this huge push by Honey Nuts up here in the north. It looks like Spark Trooper was really not very well positioned to defend against it. This lone machine gun's not going to be nearly enough to combat this huge force of infantry. And we do have a machine gun positioned right there, but I think Honey Nuts will have no problem decrewing that one, possibly going for the steel. And he might even keep charging. That rifle grenade was actually kind of disappointing. It inflicted 0 kills. Smoke grenade going out there, although I think that might have not been positioned perfectly. But fortunately, Dusty is moving up to support with a perfect flank with that flamethrower, forcing that MG to reposition, giving Honey Nuts time to steal this and break suppression. Meanwhile, Dusty's also making a huge push down here in the south. That squad of shock troops is forced away, but the other one follows up perfectly, wiping that MG and forcing a retreat from those Grenadiers, maybe even wiping them, depending on... I think that'll be fine. Just barely manages to round the corner. Scout car doing what it can against the shock troops. Shock troops actually don't have much firepower against light vehicles, certainly not at range because the penetration of their weapons is so low. The MG42 actually isn't half bad. Meanwhile, Honey Nuts continues his assault across the lake, but looks like he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. He's satisfied with that push, though. I think he did steal an MG. He did retake control of the north fuel point. So he's gonna pull back and regroup a little bit. Takes a nasty rifle grenade there. Katyusha firing once more. Looks like he fired blind low because there's really nothing in the area for him to take out. Those shock troops will get forced away. I think he just dropped that incendiary barrage. I think that was a bit of a waste. Yeah, that's not really gonna hit anything. Oh, but then those Grenadiers in their attempt to dodge just walked straight into an MG42. Rifle grenade going out. Ooh. And Dusty's going to be forced to retreat. Honey Nuts also making it away with his MG42. And the Allies are doing a nice job of pushing at the same time in like 3 or 4 different spots on the map, making it very difficult for the Axis to respond. Panzer IV on the ice. Dusty's gonna throw a grenade at the Panzer IV, but unfortunately doesn't really do anything. I'm honestly not even sure if it's possible to sink a Panzer IV with only 1 grenade. I've seen a Panzer IV get sunk by a flamethrower though, so who knows? Anything's possible. It's just one grenade. Why not try? Conscripts catch this Panzer IV with an anti-tank grenade, so he's going to have to pull it back for repairs. Of course, our Pioneer's right there, so probably just a waste of munitions. There is a field gun in the area, actually, so he could follow up. Oh, that was a nice flame burst slash P4 combo on that shock troop squad, forcing that away. Conscripts continuing to move up. Panzer IV popping smoke, so it looks like he is going to try and go in hard on that P4, but the road is going to give it that little extra speed boost it needs to get to safety. Katyusha firing here on some of these team weapons. He continues to fire at maximum range. I think if he had instead fired right here, he might have gotten a slightly more concentrated burst and gotten some kills that way, but maybe he just wanted to force that mortar to retreat to make things easier on his shock troops and his own machine gun, and of course his building garrison, so a bit of a strategic decision there, I guess, to bombard that farther back position. Grenade going out, but it does, jeez, that grenade was terrible, I did nothing. And it looks like the assault on that Panzer IV got some respectable damage, but wasn't enough to take it out, so Honey Nuts will be forced to back off a little bit. Just have to content himself with taking some territory here. The Axis do have control of both fuel points right now, and they have for some time. But it looks like this counterattack by the Allies is going to be just the thing to get some of this territory back under control. Dusty does have access to the KV-8, and Honey Nuts has access to nothing because he went with shock motor actually, right? Because he has had shock troops. So he will be holding out for an ISU-152. He's already got 360 fuel in the bank, and he's floating a ton of resources, so he's hoping to get that a little too soon, actually. I think he left some gaps in his build here. Then again, he's actually spending quite a bit of manpower now in the HQ to reinforce, so maybe not. If we take a look at the Axis, they seem to be floating a lot of resources too. Part-Time Ninja has almost 800 manpower saved up. And he has gone Jaeger armor, so possibly holding out for an Elephant at this point. The Elephant does cost 720 manpower, 245 fuel, so looks like he's saving up for that. Somewhat surprised he didn't get some kind of medium tank to help bridge the gap, though. Since he's probably going to have well over 245 fuel by the time he has 12 command points. I think going straight into Elephant might be a mistake. His teammate, on the other hand, Spark Trooper, has gone with a Panzer IV. And he'll probably be bringing in a Tiger as soon as he has the command points for it, maybe a little bit later, depending on how things work out. Meanwhile, over here, Peanut Battalions in the building are finally getting brute forced out by machine gun fire. Grenadiers, but Honey Nuts has a huge blob of infantry moving across the road here, probably going to try and pull off some kind of flank. We will notice that there's razor wire right here blocking an all-in push straight down through this area, at least on land. He would have to circle around, possibly buying that little tiny bit of extra time that Spark Trooper would need to reposition, but that flank by Dusty's shock troops is pretty much perfect to force that machine gun to retreat immediately. Very nice coordinated push from Dusty and Honey Nuts here. And shock troops in particular are so effective on this map, so having both of them just crawling all over the place with shock troops is making it really difficult for these austere players to contend with them, since their machine guns are constantly being forced to reposition, pack up, retreat. They're getting bled for manpower every step of the way. Which is why, yet another reason why I think that a Panzer IV is a great call. And of course a Tiger, once it arrives, is going to be extremely helpful as well. Incendiary barrage being called in. Those Grenadiers will make it away, I think. Future barrage going out on some Pyos.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Honeynuts getting pretty aggressive over here, sending a squad to try and destroy that fuel cache, planting some mines on the ice. Mines on ice are, of course, a great way to get a lucky vehicle sink into the lake. Shock troops killing some IOs here. More infantry moving up across the mill. Panzer IV doing what it can to push all of this back, and I'm actually pretty surprised to see a Stug. So he actually has gone tier 3, but rather than getting a medium tank, he got an assault gun. And there is an IS-2 on the field. They haven't seen it yet, though, so I guess that Stug is purely a preemptive measure, going to try and use it for a little bit of anti-infantry, but now that they've seen the IS-2, it's probably going to have to reposition, try and take some shots on that. Of course, it's very, very weak armor, so IS-2 can pretty much wipe the floor with a Stug.
Receiving fire! It's too late for a medic!
He could fire through these bushes, though.
Grenadiers standing by.
IS-2 taking shots at all of these squads. Hasn't done anything too catastrophic yet. This assault by the Soviets is just so strong with the stolen MG42s in the back, suppressing everything. Shock troops, flamethrowers. Very difficult to keep back. High explosive barrage also going out, clearing out that machine gun. The Panzer IV really needs repairs, and the Axis are just getting really outproduced right now. Both of them have about 200 fuel, so it's quite obvious that they're both holding out for really heavy vehicles to help them here. Not having access to those medium options earlier kind of meant that they couldn't really bleed their opponent all that effectively. Had a little bit of difficulty holding onto the map. That being said, they do have control now of both fuel points again. So those tigers and elephants and stuff are going to start coming out pretty soon. But right now, they're having a lot of difficulty contending with that IS-2. That IS-2 has pretty much got free reign. Dusty continues to fire that Katyusha at maximum range, and I think he's firing blind yet again. Still has 13 kills, so considering it's not doing horrible. I think he could easily move it up into this area, though. I don't know, that can be a risky proposition when there's a Panzer IV on the field. A Panzer IV gets into position, it can pretty much one-shot a Stuka. In fact, that Stuka is not... In fact, leaving it so far back can almost be more dangerous than leaving it somewhere like right here, because if the Panzer IV were to somehow sneak past Dusty, circle around through the south, and just roll straight up this area, it could potentially catch that out of position and take it out, but I think that the Panzer IV is too important to keep on the front lines. You can't really afford to do that. Dusty probably doesn't have to worry too much about that happening. Ooh. Not paying attention to those shock troops. What is he doing? Why isn't he firing at that? Oh my gosh, and that grenade just wiped a grenadier squad. Wow, and the shock troops will make it away alive. That's insane. The IS-2 is circling around, trying to catch the Panzer IV here. The Panzer IV is trying to blitz out of there, though. IS-2 shot misses. Stug also moving up to support. Dusty not watching his combat engineers, but it looks like they'll get away all right. Dusty also recrewing his machine gun with some shock troops. Honeynuts in the meantime doing battle with some Panzer Grenadiers. Some more Grenadiers up here. Machine gun trying to get into position. Ooh, this whole blob just got suppressed by Honeynuts MG42 over here, though, which is going to stop any of those forces from being able to support in this engagement. Ooh, oh, that whole machine gun just got cleared out by the Panzer IV, though. Spark Trooper, despite having only produced one, is using it really effectively. I'm sure he's really glad he got that to bridge the gap between like the 15-minute mark and his Tiger, because it's been doing a really nice job of taking out priority targets and bleeding his opponent's squads. And munitions, for that matter. I think he's soaked up quite a few anti-tank grenades, but it always seems to get away clean. Oh, massive damage going out on that machine gun from those flame bursts. Nice flank by those Panzer Grenadiers, but I think they might get focused down a little too fast by these conscripts, who will be forced to retreat. But they tank a little bit of the damage while these Grenadiers continue bursting them down with their LMGs. Panzer IV now needs to get some repairs. The nearest repair squads are on their way here in the lake. And the Tiger is making its way up to the front lines. Meanwhile, the Stug still has 0 kills. Not able to do all that much. Not sure what this scout car was thinking, but apparently it like dived an IS-2. Doesn't look like it worked out very well for him. Oh, Penal's actually recruit this pack. Oh, nice rifle grenade by the those grenadiers though. Making sure that that pack's not going to do anything too catastrophic. But now Honey Nuts has an ISU-152 on the field. Oh jeez. And there, let the squad wipes begin. There goes one squad. That Tiger can't really afford to go in unsupported on that ISU. Not with an HC gun available to support. Especially if you were to take engine damage from a stray AT grenade. Could spell disaster, so he's pretty much being forced to pull back here. Fortunately, he's still able to harass this shock troop squad. So that's good. The Tiger will be forced to play extremely safe now that there's an ISU. 2 ISUs, in fact, on the field. Honey Nuts having saved pretty much all of his fuel to spam these in the late game. Although there is an elephant on the field. His opening shot does pretty decent damage to the ISU there. But it looks like it's going to be forced to reposition here. IS-2 also doing pretty good damage to those grenadiers. It looks like both ISUs are making their way up here towards the center. Tiger's still at half health. It's in no position to engage. Pretty much powerless here. The elephant also taking massive damage, and it's so slow on these craters, all these Katyusha craters. It can barely move. Packs are so clumped. Getting taken out by those shock troops. They're both gonna go down. I think, yeah, there they go. IS-2 also moving up. Meanwhile, over here, the ISU is continuing to just bombard all of these Axis units. Grenadiers aren't getting much traction either. We do have a Panzer IV circling all the way around the top. Interesting. I think he might be trying to sneak up on the Katyusha from around the side. I wonder if Dusty will notice. He's a little bit preoccupied here in the south. Oh, ISU shot up bandits the Stug. And the stolen pack here is actually... Oh, never mind. The whole machine gun on the elephant actually just cleared that out. Wow. Massive damage continues on the Tiger. ISUs are pretty much unharmed. Oh jeez, this is such a good opening for that Panzer IV to take out the Katyusha. Dusty is not paying any attention. I don't think that Katyusha has a chance of surviving. Oh, that shot did miss. I don't know though. Yeah, even the MG actually on the top there is sufficient to take that out. And there's a second IS-2 coming onto the field now, and the Axis don't have nearly what they need to deal with these threats. That ISU shot just did massive damage to this P4. I don't even know if it's going to get away. Oh, IS-2 shot just bounced. This pathing though, it keeps on stopping. It kept on stopping and like pivoting. Just couldn't get to safety in time. Oh geez, main gun destroyed on the elephant. Thanks to yet another stolen pack. Oh, that shot missed. It's a lucky break that that elephant is even alive right now. And there's still an abandoned Stug sitting here in the middle of the map. It's in such a precarious position that neither player can really safely recover it. More squads getting wiped by ISUs, and things are rapidly getting out of control here. The Axis are not gonna be able to come back from all this stuff. The ISUs haven't even taken any damage. Between them, they've got 5 and 10 kills, which is not bad considering that they haven't really been on the field for all that long. If we by comparison, for example, look at Dusty's Katyusha is dead. Well, okay. Still more kills than the IS-2. And it looks like the Axis are kind of running out of steam here. Slowly repairing their tanks up. But, I mean, one Tiger and one Elephant is nowhere near enough to deal with 2 IS-2s and 2 ISU-152s. Incendiary artillery being called in on these weapons, forcing a retreat, or at least forcing a back to reposition. Almost wiping that one. Meanwhile, up here, the Tiger has been repaired, making a push against these conscripts. The ISUs are kind of repositioning themselves here in the middle. Shock troops trying to push over here on the cutoff. IS-2's just kind of sitting in the back. No huge amount of pressure to push really at this point. They just need to hold on to their victory points. The victory points are actually quite even. Up until this point, there's been a lot of back and forth, and it's only now that the Allies have a really decisive advantage. Oh no, what happened there? I think that Tiger might have hit a mine. Well, so much for that. Pretty much now up to this Elephant to take on the entire Allied army. I don't think I see that happening. Especially if we take a look at PopCap right now. Both Allied players are completely PopCapped. Both Axis players, I guess on average they're at about like 55. Really struggling to keep up at this point.
They are wiping us out.
And once again, Dusty has managed to seal this pack with shock troops. This is like the 4th time he's done this. He keeps on getting like just a couple free shots on the Elephant. Every time he does that, he forces it to get repaired, weakens its ability to effectively combat these ISUs, which appear to be charging it. Oh, that shot missed by just a hair, fortunately, and the Elephant's doing massive damage to that ISU. It's certainly an effective counter to it, like tank for tank, but against 2 ISUs, it's proving to be just a little bit too much, and it already took 2 hits from that pack, which just weakened it just that little extra amount, forcing it to pull back. Can't really throw its weight around. And its maneuverability is like terrible too, so you have to be extremely careful with it. He's actually quite lucky that the Allies have fielded no medium armor, only heavy vehicles. Because if there were any medium tanks on the field, they would easily be able to flank around behind that and kill that without even a second thought. Ooh. Huge damage going out on that IS-2. That is a well-positioned pack right there. Oh, but the shot connects with the terrain. Meanwhile, Dusty's shocks continue to just wreak havoc right on the front lines. It's not nearly enough to deter him, although now that there's a new Tiger on the field, hopefully he won't be able to bully his opponent so much. Map control is very much in Allied hands right now. Despite the Axis sort of clawing at victory points, the resources are just going to keep on flowing in for the Allies. They've really got nothing to worry about in that regard, and they can just keep on cranking out super heavy units. Their resources are just flying through the roof, which means that they can trade units rather than focus on unit persuasion or winning engagements. If they were to throw away an IS-2, they could instantly crank out a new one. It wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't even be that heavy of a blow. So at this point, the Axis have to work really hard just to take out a unit, and even if they do, a new one will show up to replace it in no time. And once again, things have quieted down while the Axis reevaluate their strategy and try to figure out what they're going to do to get themselves out of this situation. They've already made some really critical mistakes, losing that Tiger up against an ISU. It can be really challenging. Up against two ISUs, it can be downright impossible. It almost makes more sense to just spam a ton of Panzer IVs than it does to hold out for Tigers, because this is just too, you need more mobility and maneuverability. You can't win a slugfest against this. The Elephant can, I think, but they're gonna need a lot more elephants. So I think Spark Trooper might have been better off just going with medium tanks this game. Maybe. He started out with a Panzer IV, and he was actually able to make a lot of, he did a lot of damage with it. He made it to Vet 2 before being taken out in this area by ISUs, and even then it was kind of because of pathing. So I think if he had gone a little bit harder into medium armor, maybe they wouldn't be in this situation. Being forced away. Dusty has quite a defensive line set up here on the southern victory point. Meanwhile, Honeynuts is fighting for the north, but it looks like the forces he dedicated up there aren't really sufficient. Plus the terrain and shot blockers and stuff will actually probably be enough to protect them from ISU fire until they can get those victory points under control. Slowing the clock down once again, trying to delay, trying to give the Axis time to figure something out to deal with all these ISUs. But it's really tough because other than the Elephant, there's not really much that the Austere, like, non-doctrinally can field that isn't basically hard countered by the ISU. Packs get one-shotted by it occasionally.
We have lost a machine gun crew.
Any form of infantry-based AT is a huge liability. Look at that, a late-game T-70. It's a 38-minute T-70 hitting the field and it has 4 kills. So if he gets one more kill, that'll be the best T-70 in the entire tournament. Axis have established themselves though a little bit here in the south, trying to retake some territory, maybe get a slightly bigger defensive line set up, prepare themselves for the next big push. I think they're going to need to rely a little bit on their opponents making some sort of critical mistake, leaving a heavy tank out of position or something. And then after they make that critical mistake, they're going to have to make like 6 more critical mistakes until their resources are depleted. Going in hard on that Elephant, but only Oh no, the second IS-2 is on its way up to support. There is one pack here in the area to help deter this push. Incendiary barrage coming in though. Elephant getting awkwardly stuck on this tree, making it really difficult for it to position itself. The elephant needs to fire. No, he just got shocked. There it goes. Get taken out by the pack, but there's a massive army of shock troops moving in to kill everything. Dusty's just overwhelmed everything with his tanks. Heavy infantry, everything will be forced to retreat and the elephant is destroyed. And all the squads get wiped except for one pioneer. What a devastating push by Dusty there. And this tiger is way too late to the battle. I don't even know what he was thinking with that. Maybe they've just given up. Yep, GG, throwing us the tank away. That's the end of the game, and that's going to conclude the first game. Wow, that was an intense one. Both of these teams fighting tooth and nail to stay in the tournament. Let's hope they bring the intensity in round 2, and we'll get started on that one right away. Well, not round 2, but game 2. I need to get my terminology straight.